friends and net aspirants, welcome back to High Point again to our yet another video section. So far we have seen previous questions from drama, poetry and fiction and short stories. So in this video we'll be doing previous questions from UGC for UGC NET JRF English subject. I'm doing this that you all know. So previous question from the section known as non-fiction. Okay, we have finished fiction. Now we will do non-fiction. So without wasting time, let's see the first question. So before that, let me tell you that you have to visit my website www.highpoint.in to know more about what all things that you have to learn for UGC NET JRF English language and literature, that subject. I have given, see, if you take the free trial you can have the demo materials as well as you can actually see and scroll down and see what all topic about what all topics that I have given lectures. And also I want, while I'm discussing these previous questions, you have to pause the video and read these questions your own, and you will learn like that from the question itself. There will be hints about the answers of these questions. So learn that hints, and from the options and questions you can learn many more things. Okay, this is going to be not that a lengthy video that we have seen in the previous in discussions of previous questions. So let's begin. The first question is, what type of writing Walter Pater defines as the special and opportune art of the modern world? So Walter Pater, he is a non-fiction writer, essayist, and Walter Pater defines something, a particular kind of writing, as the special and opportune art of the modern world. So which is that type of writing? The lyric, comic drama, the novel, or the non-fiction prose? So of course he is a writer of non-fiction, so the answer is non-fiction prose. Next question. It was the first narrative of a black woman slave to be established in England in 1831. It has profound influence on the abolition movement in Britain. Identify the book and the author. So about this particular work that you have to choose, there are two hints are given. Actually, three hints are given. It is a narrative of a black woman. So that is the first hint. The second one, it is published in England in the year 1831, and it has a profound influence on the abolition movement happened in Britain. Okay, so there are three hints and you have to identify. So in the options, the author's name is also given. So that is the next hint. So Mary Prince, the history of Mary Prince. So Mary Prince has written a novel known as The History of Mary Prince. Mettie Jane Jackson, the story of Mettie J. Jackson. Elizabeth, memoirs of old Elizabeth, a colored woman. Harriet Jacobs, incidents in the life of the slave girl. So the correct answer used here is Mary Prince, the history of Mary Prince, which was published in England in 1831, and it is a narrative of black woman and it influenced the abolition movement in Britain. The next one, the following epigraph was written by Rudyard Kipling during the War of 1914 to 18. So Rudyard Kipling, he was born in India, but he was educated in England and all. He is a British modern writer, and Rudyard Kipling has written an epigraph that goes like this: Hindu sepoy in France. This man is his own in his own country, prayed we know not to what powers. So he is referring to a man, and he says that, see, this man, a sepoy in France, he actually in his country, in his own country, that means sepoy in France means Hindu sepoy in France is Indian. He's an Indian. So he prays in his country. We do not know to what powers that he is talking. He is praying. Okay, we pray them to reward him for his bravery in ours. Okay, so we pray them to, so we also pray to that powers. It's actually mocking. Rudyard Kipling is mocking, and he says that we also pray them to reward him for his bravery in ours. Okay, now we have to we have to identify what is meant by power and the and ours. Okay, so the correct answer is the Hindu, the French and the British. Okay, so the next question we have here is, the term digger is associated with a group of agrarian communists who flourished in England in 1649 to 50 and they were led by. So digger is a term that actually associated to a group of agrarian communists that raised and flourished during England during the time of 1649 to 1650. So this group of agrarian communities were led by whom? Gerard Winstanley. So this agrarian communist group who were flourished, that group flourished during and 1649 to 50, and they were flourishing in England during that time, and this group was led by Gerard Winstanley. Okay. The next question. Adherent of the 14th century religious movement associated with vernacular preaching, translation of New Testament into English, and challenges to the authority of priests and bishops were called. See, once you hear the 14th century, you have to remember the age of Chaucer. In age of Chaucer, we can see that one of the key features of the age is, many church authorities were began to question during that time by the reformers like Wycliffe, John Wycliffe, and his followers known as Lollards. So they were actually, see, this Bible was not accessible to common people because they don't know the language. It was not in English, it was in the classical languages like Latin or Greece, and also it was not, see, whatever the clergy people they are saying, these common people, they have to obey it. They will feel that they are the authorities of this religion. So in order to make Bible accessible to the common people, there are many translations of New Testament, Old Testament, the Bible as such they were going on. So which group actually challenged the authority of priests, bishops? So you have to identify. It was Lollards. Okay, the followers of Wycliffe was known as Lollards. So it was Lollards who actually challenged the authority of priest and bishop in the 14th century, and they also do, uh, they also did many translations of Bible into English, like New Testament into English. The next question. The Norman conquest was significant landmark in English history. Why it is significant? It actually marked another era in English history, and not only politically but literally also, literature wise also, it was a new age. So Norman conquest happened in 1066, in the year 1066, and it was one of the greatest political expansion that ever happened in England. See, from 1066 to 1340 or 1350, it was Roman, it was Norman conquest. It was Anglo-Norman period in England. So it was the greatest and longest political kind of expansion and conquering happening over England. And what French did the Normans speak, and what was it known as? So, what type of the French language which was spoken by the Norms, that they came to England and conquered. So, what French that Normans were speaking at that time, and what was it known as? So the answer is they spoke Norman French. They were not speaking the pure French, but they actually uh, they spoke Norman French, and theirs was certainly not the standard French. So they were not speaking the standard French. See, these Norman people, they do not belong to France. They were actually, they were Vikings. Their ancestors were Vikings, and they came to the shore of France, and the then king gave them a space to reside and mingle with the society and make a community. But they were speaking, even though they mingled, but they were speaking Norman French. And when they came to England as conquerors, their language became the popular language. So Anglo-Norman dialect of French language was the language which was popular during the Anglo-Norman period. So the French Normans, they were speaking Norman French, and that is not the standard French language. Next, the 1950s saw the rise of backlash against modernism and against new romanticism that become known as the movement. Which of the following little magazines came into be associated with the movement? See, in 1950s we can see that there is a regression for the movement, modernist movement, and also against new romanticism too. And and you know some magazines, from the among list, a magazine actually came to associate with this movement. So you have to identify that magazine's name, London Mercury. So it was this magazine which came to be associated with this movement, and the magazine's name is London Mercury. The next question: in which city did John Ruskin see a paradigm for Victorian Britain? So, in which city did John Ruskin see a paradigm for Victorian Britain? It was in Venice. Venice, John Ruskin see a or he saw a paradigm for Victorian Britain. The next question: Sir Thomas Browne's urn burial was prompted by. Okay, so urn burial was prompted by, and burial is written by Thomas Browne. The discovery of ancient burial urns near Norwich. So, what actually, from the given options, what actually prompted Brown to write, Thomas Browne to write urn burial? The discovery of ancient burial urns near Norwich, the contemporary researches on burial rites in Norway, the death of Saint Francis of Assisi and his burial, the publication of the English Book of Common Prayers. So it was actually the discovery of ancient burial urns near Norwich that actually prompted that. When he witnessed that, then came to know about that incident prompted Thomas Browne to write his work Urn Burial. The next question: the 18th century practice in England of book selling was midway between direct patronage and impersonal sales. A patron paid half the cost of a book before publication and half on delivery. The author of the book received three payments directly. The patron's name appeared in the preface for the book published in this manner. This practice was known as, see, in 18th century, 17th century and 16th century, we can see that patrons, the major literary persons, figures, popular ones, they will have patrons. So they, from that their patrons, they will get support as well as they will get money to survive, right? But towards the end of the age of revival, we can see that printing press got established in England by whom? William Caxton. Okay, William Caxton is the first printer of England. And in the 18th century, there is a practice in book selling, printing and selling, that while the book was getting published, half of its cost will be paid by the patron before publication of the book, and half of the money will be paid by the patron after delivery. And the author of the book will receive three payments directly, and the patron's name will be appeared in the, or name will be given in the preface for the book. That was the practice happening. So what will be called, what is the name of this practice? Okay, so giving the patron's name in the preface for the book, and also what is this practice known as? Subscription, contribution, pre-publication, remindering. So it is subscription. This practice is known as subscription. The next question: Robert Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy was published in 1621 and expanded and altered in subsequent editions. See how many times the book Anatomy of Melancholy by Burton was edited and expanded. So it was 5 times. Okay, 5 times Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy, which was published in 1621. That means that Anatomy of Melancholy belongs to the Jacobean age. And this was published in 1621 and it was expanded and altered and edited in 5 subsequent editions. Next question. During the reign of Norman kings, it was fashionable to speak dash in upper class circles in England. See, during the Norman time, which is from 1066 to 1340 or 1350. So up to that, we have Anglo-Norman age in England, or English was not a popular language there. Norman people were speaking a French dialect, which is known as, Anglo-Norman language they were speaking. It is a French dialect, and it was, since it was the language of the rulers, it was fashionable and more prestigious to speak in this language in the upper class, upper class circles, and the royalties and loyalties, everything, everyone. So those were the creamy layer of the society. They were speaking in this language. Literally, nothing was happening in English. Every other literature was published and written in this language and all. So the language of the Norman people, Anglo-Norman, was a French language. Next, Dash is the producer of the first complete printed English Bible. So, who produced the first complete English translation in its printed form? It was Miles Coverdale. See, all these people, they actually, in a way, they actually uh, directly or indirectly they are connected to Bible and Christian religion. See, Jerome attempted a, translation of Bible, not to English, okay. But William Tyndale, before Coverdale, William Tyndale started writing, started translating. He actually finished the New Testament, but he could not live for finishing the full translation of the Bible. Before that, he was arrested and executed for heresy. And but Miles Coverdale, Tyndale's own disciple, he translated and he printed the full translated English Bible. Then Venerable Bede belongs to the old English period or Anglo-Saxon period. So Venerable Bede is the one who actually recorded and tells about the Christian poets, Caedmon and Cinewolf and all in his work, The Ecclesiastical History of English People. So I hope that was clear. So the next question we have here is who or which among the following gave the expression a leopard can't change its spot to English language. So someone actually made a comment about English language, or not really someone, or about something, someone or something actually made a comment about English language in one of the books or in one of the thing that is there, that is there in the option. You have to identify in which or by whom this dialogue was said. The King James Bible, Geoffrey Chaucer, Shakespeare, the Royal Societies. Actually, in King James Bible, regarding that, we can see such an expression: the leopard can't change its spot. Actually, it is about the supremacy or the beauty and this, the elevated nature of English language. The next question: the title of Sir Thomas Browne's famous treatise, Religio Medici, means. So, what is the meaning of this title, Religio Medici, which is a kind of prose work by whom? Thomas Browne. Religion of a doctor, religion of medicine, religion of divinity, religion of meditation. Actually, the title means religion of a doctor, and Thomas Browne, he was a physician. So, remember that. The next one, identify the correct chronological sequence of the founding of the following 18th century English periodicals. So, if you are studying about non-fiction, neoclassical age is a must study because we can see that non-fiction, pamphlet, essays, magazines, and such things, mainly the prose things, are flourished during this period. And after that, every other coming age, we can see that this particular genre got increased and developed and progressed much up to the contemporary world. So you have to identify the chronology of the magazines that are given there: Tatler, Spectator, the Gentleman's Magazine, and Rambler. See, Tatler, Spectator, and Ramblers, all these magazines only belongs to the neoclassical age. And Tatler, Spectator, people associated to Tatler and Spectator, they Addison and Steele, do you remember them? And Rambler was maintained by or founded by whom? Dr. Johnson, Samuel Johnson. So Tatler comes first, next comes Spectator, next we have the Gentleman's Magazine, then have Rambler. So that's the correct chronological order of these magazines. The next question: in his essay From Work to Text, Roland Barthes tells the following about the text. Okay, so Roland Barthes has written an essay, From Work to Text. So From Work to Text is an essay by Roland Barthes. Roland Barthes, he is a post-structuralist, and Roland Barthes, he tells something about text. Two sentences that you have to identify from the given options. The text is singular. The text can be held in the hand. A text is held in language. A text is a methodological field. So option 2 and 3 are the statements made by Roland Barthes about a text in his essay From Work to Text. So option 3 and 4 means the text is held in language, the text is a methodological field. The next question is a match the following question. You have to match the list of authors, non-fiction writers to their essays. Okay, John Locke, William Dampier, Jeremy Collier, Thomas Raymer are given. Then a short view of the immortality and profanity of the stage. Then two treatises on government, a short view of tragedy, voyages. The correct answer is option C. A is matched with 2. John Locke is matched to, or Locke has written the two treatises on government, and option B is 4. So William Dampier has written voyages, and option C. I mean C. Jeremy Collier has written a short view of the mortality and profanity of the stage, and Thomas Raymer has written a short view of tragedy. So you can pause the video and learn the author's name and their works. Next question. At the beginning of the Restoration period, there was a seismic shift in the social, political, religious attitudes of the English people. Which of the following statement best describes that shift? Actually, seismic shift means a tremendous shift. A great change happened in the social, political, religious attitudes of English. So, which statement about this seismic shift is correctly described in the given statements? England shifted from an aristocratic Catholic monarchy to parliamentary democracy. See, actually, remember about Restoration period. What was restored? Monarchy was restored. From what? See, England was experiencing its first Commonwealth parliamentary government, right, during the Puritan age, which happened from 1625 to 1660 approximately. But in 1660, Charles II was again ascended to the throne of England, and monarchy was uh, re-established in England. So it was not possible that England was shifted from a Catholic monarchy to parliamentary democracy happened in Restoration. That is not possible. Okay, so think about that. Then England shifted from an atheist oligarchy to dynastic squiarchy. So that is not the correct answer. English shifted from Republican Puritan Commonwealth. See, during the Puritan age, before Restoration, England was a Puritan Commonwealth nation, and after that, it was shifted to aristocratic Anglican monarchy. So that is the correct answer. England shifted from a parliamentary democracy to an aristocratic Catholic tyranny. So it was not tyranny happening, but it was monarchy. Okay. Next question. One of the key terms in Michel Foucault's work is discourse, which is best described as, see, discourse. Michel Foucault has written and he talked about discourse. So we have to identify what is discourse. How discourse is best described in these given statements. The power of persuasion in all articulation. The selective language power people use. Conceptual framework which enables some mode of thought and deny or severely constrain certain others. The ability to suggest transcendental levels of meaning its alternate. See, according to Michel Foucault, what is discourse? Okay, it is a conceptual framework which enables some mode of thought and deny or severely constrain certain others. So that is the best description according to Michel Foucault. Discourse about discourse has been given. The next question, 21st question, select the right chronological sequence of date of Bible translation. Okay, see another chronological question of asking you to arrange a chronological order or something. Okay, so here you have to arrange the date of Bible translation into chronological order. King James version happened in the Jacobean age. Tyndale's version happened in the age of revival. Then revised standard version later happened in the 17th century. Then Holman Christian Standard Bible. So first happened what? Tyndale's translation. Then happens King James version. Then happens revised standard version. Then later Holman Christian Standard Bible. So this is option C is the correct answer. Tyndale King James version, revised standard version, then Holman Christian Standard Bible. About Bible translation, I have Bible translation of Age of Revival. I have given a detailed video in my YouTube channel. You can go and see that. Okay. The idea of utterance, new ethnicities in poets was Britain was advanced by, see, new ethnicities in Britain. Which poet actually advanced this particular notion in Britain? It was Stuart Hall. Stuart Hall, he is tremendously related to the cultural studies and Birmingham Contemporary Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. Remember about that, and he has greatly contributed to cultural studies. So when we learn about cultural study, we will look at him. We will learn about Stuart Hall in detail. Next, which of the following authors wrote studies in Victorian Britain? So you have to find out the author of British author who has written studies in Victorian Britain. Walter Pater, Oscar Wilde, Thomas Carlyle, and John Ruskin. See, all these people, they belong to which age? The age of Victorian age. So the answer is Walter Pater. Walter Pater is the author of studies in Victorian Britain. The next question, who among the following advanced the theory that the mind is a tabula rasa at birth and acquires all ideas by experience? See, tabula rasa is a famous phrase. If you are a B.Ed student or a TTC student, you know this. If you have learned about educational scientists and philosophers, tabula rasa, you often have come across this phrase. So who actually advocated this idea, who actually brought about this idea, tabula rasa, which is a theory that says that at birth our mind is actually completely blank. Only after when we have some experiences, only after our birth we acquire, and just like a clean slate, something is written on that slate as we go on having experiences. Who brought out this idea? So it is John Locke. John Locke of the neoclassical age brought out this idea of tabula rasa. The Tatler appeared thrice a week. So Tatler is a magazine of neoclassical age, and Tatler appeared thrice a week. That's an information that we can have from the question. You have to identify the days in which in a week the Tatler appeared. So it was on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. I am not going to read all these options. That will just waste of time. So just pause the video and you can read. So the correct answer that is that Tatler appeared on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays of a week. And next, which of the following works is not actually a prose essay? Okay. From the given options, which work is not actually a prose essay? Essay of dramatic poesy. It's a prose essay. By whom? By Dryden. Essay on Man is not a prose essay actually. The essay concerning human understanding is by John Locke, and essay on Man, I think it is written by Alexander Pope. And an essay towards the new theory of vision. So essay of dramatic poesy, an essay concerning human understanding, an essay towards the new theory of vision, all these are prose essays. But essay on Man is written in a poetical manner. So that is the difference here. The next one, Joseph Addison called him the miracle of the present age, and Alexander Pope wrote the epitaph on the monument erected in his memory. Who is he? So Addison and Pope, these people belong to the neoclassical age. So they must be talking about a contemporary of them, right? So Addison actually called him as the miracle of the present age, and Alexander Pope wrote the epitaph for the monument erected or created for his memory. Who is he? He is Isaac Newton. See, he is a miracle of the present age, the then age that we can truly say. The next question, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbon is significant work in volumes. So in how many volumes we can find Gibbon's work, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire? So we can find this particular work in 6 volumes, which is written by Edward Gibbon. The next question, one of the most highly revered scholarly and passionate interpreters of English and world literature, he was appointed as the Lord Northcliffe Professor of Modern English Literature at University College London in 1967. So this is this is a description about some person of importance. You have to identify which is that person, okay? He is a most revered scholarly and passionate interpreters of English and world literature. So he is a man who is a critic of world literature and as well as English literature. And he was also appointed as Lord Northcliffe Professor of Modern English Literature at University College of London in 1967. You have to identify him. So he was Frank Kermade, not F.R. Lewis not, I.A. Richards not, David Lodge, but Frank Kermode. Do you remember this about him? The next, who wrote History of Australian Literature in 1961? So this is a book's name, History of Australian Literature, which was published in 1961. Who is that? Who is the author of this work? It was J. H.M. Green. Okay, H.M. Green has written History of Australian Literature, and it was published in 1961. The next question. This was a path-breaking feminist essay written in the 1970s, which used hybrid terms like sext and Strauss. Identify the author. So was a tremendous, a path-breaking, very relevant essay in feminism, okay, feminist essay, and it was written in 1970s. And in this particular work, we can find hybrid or hybrid coinages of terms and usages of that terms like sext and castress, okay, castress. So identify the author, whether it is by Louis Irigaray, Helen Sixtus, Julia Christopher, Simon de Beauvoir. So this particular work, path-breaking essay, was written by Helen Sixtus. If it is Helen Sixtus, it must be which? The Mad Woman in the Attic. So that's all some relevant questions from non-fiction. So these are the previous questions. So far we have seen from drama, poetry, fiction and non-fiction. So we will also see from questions and important questions from literary theory and criticism and also cultural studies. I'll try to include more videos like that before the exam so that you can watch them and you can go on practicing them. So that's all about it. If you have any queries regarding this or if you have any suggestions, you can all comment that in this comment section. And if you like this video, please press the like button. And also if you have not subscribed, please subscribe it because that means a lot to me. That is an encouragement for me to make such videos further in our future. That will be helpful when you are looking for some contents related to literature. And you can find me in these platforms, especially go and visit my website www.highpoint.in. There you'll find 900 plus audio lectures related to English language and literature, UGC English language and literature, and also 300 plus downloadable PDF materials about every other important topic that we have already covered in the audio sessions, and also previous and practice questions all the way from 2004 to the contemporary times. You can practice means you can actually attempt those questions and have their answers and know your marks and progress instantly. So yeah, go and visit and have the free trials and let me know your impressions. So that's all. Let me meet you in the next video. Until then, bye bye and thank you.